Dad's vision was to create a successful business. And when you've got nothing, to create a successful business is a big thing.
Yeah,
Huge thing, massive thing.
Huge. Yeah.
I was fortunate. I came into an already thriving, successful business.
Yeah.
I had a head start.
You, from the age of 17, actually come into the business.
From the age of 17?
Yeah.
Ever since I was in fucking nappies, mate.
So you started the business and you're building a business, and we have peaks and troughs within that. You know, so there's a lot of kind of different points along the way.
As a company owner, you take the rewards, but you also take the expenses if they up, shall we say. You can't just count the wins.
No.
What I've realised is if the economy is brilliant, there's a demand for transport.
Right.
If the economy is like COVID, like the recession, hauliers and suppliers reduce their availability.
Okay.
So they stand down vehicles and having parts. So the demand's there again. So whatever the scenario outside of Lobina, there's always a demand for vehicles. Sometimes the customer says yes, and the person we're basing on says, I can't do it no more.
Yeah.
So you're in, it's tense.
Yeah, you got to find
tense.
someone else.
You got to find somebody else.
And at the right price,
within the same price bracket.
Yeah.
Which just get the palpitations.
Of course, because if you've quoted a customer a price and then you can't deliver it at that price, you're going to be out of pocket. Yeah.
Been screwed over so many times.
Exactly. As anyone running or owning a business knows, it's not easy.
Listen, I struggle with my own head, being inside my head, because I've got that many plates spinning
and ideas,
what to do next. Run to that one, to a point where sometimes it's so unproductive that you're wasting days just jumping from one to the next.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do struggle with that, but you find one out of all them.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of cycling through the ideas as fast as you can.
Yes.
You hit a great idea. 90% of them are shit and fail. Yeah, but the 10%.
Yeah.
But you know what the great. I give up fast. I'm very quick to say this isn't working. Get out.
Yeah.
And it's always about trying them all.
Yeah.
And what works out. What fails, accept that it's failed.
Yeah.
But you see people that's going with an idea, and they're pushing,
Yeah.
and it's just doing damage when they don't know when to quit.
You know, you've made a big decision, you've put lots of investment in, you've done a lot of work on it, but you're heading towards the cliff, 90 miles an hour. Don't be scared to pull the handbrake, because you can stop at any point.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's all right. It's okay to change direction and think, no, this isn't actually working.
Oh, yeah, it's always like that. Changing direction,
Yeah.
seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work.
Seeing you over the past year, I'd say you've really been doing brilliantly in terms of like you personally and feeling good. Mm-hmm. So where are you like now with
I'm
that?
still taking holidays from 2008 that are owed to me.
Well, this is important because yes, you're successful and you're managing to have holidays now, but you didn't for years and years and years and years, and no days off and everything.
This is the difference with Luigi. Luigi is working hard.
Yeah.
But I'm doing exactly what he did.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I was coming in on a Saturday morning and Sunday doing balancing the books. And I never forget my wife saying, "Are you coming?" Yeah. It'll be lunchtime.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to walk the dogs.
Brilliant.
Then I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do the paperwork.
Yeah. Because you didn't have the money, you didn't have the resources as much, did you?
Exactly. They're the two major differences.
Yes.
Okay, the client's the difference, but at the end of the day, I was trading in transport then and trading in transport now.
Yeah.
When I joined the business, there wasn't any blue chip clients.
No.
When I say blue chip, like your big brand names, there was none.
Yeah.
It was always like forwarder to forwarder work or not big companies. And we was always hiding behind the other transport companies. Lobina was always the carrier behind the scenes, never getting recognised. And I was sat. I can always remember having a conversation with a big forwarder, now a competitor.
Yeah.
And said, "Why have you contacted this client?" Because like it's a thing in our industry where you don't go and contact clients. And I thought to myself, right, if we're going to grow this business and if we're going to get true success, true wealth for the business and grow something to be very proud of, we've got to cut working with other forwarders. We do still work with other forwarders, but we've got to go for the big clients in order to grow. Got to go for the big boys, not hide behind another forwarder.
Yeah.
And we did. And one after the other. I hit one big one, and then 6 months later, you hit another big one. Because remember, it's not about just hitting one client. Once a client accepts you, you're on the list, and you get continuous work. Then you add another one, you get more eggs in the basket. The better it is, the better service you can provide as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I look at the client list and think it's 15 years of just pure cold calling, big blue chip brands.
Yeah.
And making them listen to you. Like, it's a bit easier now because we've got the brand behind us and stuff. But back then we didn't have a brand. We just knew we could do it.
Yeah.
The team's growing massively, which is a challenge in itself.
It's grown fast as well, hasn't it?
Yes, but the core's still there from the beginning.
100%. Yeah.
One thing I struggle with is, as we've grown bigger and bigger, is the laws of having an holiday. You were going on holiday, you go on holiday, and that was it. There was no, you got 21 days.
Yeah.
And I find that very hard because the job isn't 9 till 5. Okay.
No. Sometimes you just got to work late.
So when somebody asks us for a day off, I've always been, how can you refuse a day off?
What? So if you offer a day off, you mean? Or
no, if somebody says in the office, can I have a day off tomorrow? And you say, oh, no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. What about when they worked an extra hour or 2 hours?
Yeah.
Or, this is going back to when I was, you could say, a foot soldier.
Yes. Yeah.
You could never leave on time.
No, that's right.
We try and make it so you do leave on time nowadays with the number of staff, but it's still difficult.
Yeah. And how do they react to that? If you know,
very good.
And always on your mind, the business. Always.
Is. It's a different mindset. I mean, I keep saying to them, they say, "Oh, it's a bad day." There's 12 months in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
The year isn't made in 1 month, and it's not lost in 1 month.
Yeah. And the one real thing that came across was you just get work done. Like, you're just on it, all of you, every single one of you.
I'm very fortunate that I've got a son that works for me. I'm very fortunate that my son has become an asset to the business.
Yeah.
I've always been a cracking salesman.
Yeah.
I've always picked the phone up and landed very, very big clients from a young age. I'm not going to say the names. The company now turns over 24.8 billion. And I landed that client as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And the only way I did it was picking the phone up to him.
Yeah.
I can always remember, I will say his name. His name was John. And I said, John, I really, really need this opportunity to show you what Lobina's made of.
Yeah.
I said, you've got work. I know you've got work. I said, give us the chance to show you what we're about, what we can do for you.
Yeah.
No, I'm not interested. The next day, John, I know you told me to put the phone down yesterday. I know you put the phone down on me yesterday and said you weren't interested, but I'm not going to leave you alone until I get a chance.
Okay.
Luigi, not this week. Monday. John, we're here. I've got the service. We've got the service to be able to completely revolutionise your carrier list. I need the opportunity to show you what we're about. And the way I used to talk to the client was, look, I get that you've got 500 people calling you every week to become a logistics carrier for you.
Yeah.
But just give me 1 minute of your time, 1 minute of your time, or 30 seconds of your time to tell you why Lobina would enhance your carrier list to a point that you wouldn't even believe it would be possible.
Okay.
I would just sell so hard. Like, and when they put the phone down to me, I'd ring the next day.
Yeah.
And I'd also, I still do it now. Ask James. I still do it now, and I encourage James to do it every day in business development.
Yeah.
It's become a nuisance to the point where they have to listen.
Right.
And people take that wrong.
Yeah.
You get the odd client that takes it wrong, but then you get the odd client that thinks, you know what, he must have something good to offer.
Yeah.
Because you're battering them
really,
with.
Yeah, I'm confident with.
Yeah. And we're confident. I'm genuinely confident with what we can provide, but it's about selling that in the right way.
Yeah.
60% of the work is in these big companies is one person's decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got 40,000 employees, one person can add you. And it's like, can I speak to Sarah? Can I speak to Viv? Can I speak to Who? And then you'd finally get to the right person, and you'd be like, I'd be so excited to pick the phone up and ring him because I've just found the right person.
The right person that can make the decision.
So the way I had to pick the phone up is, John, oh my God, I've rang 30 people just to find your name and just to get added to the list that you control.
Yeah.
And he's John's taken back, and he's like, oh, really? Like, makes him feel special.
Yeah. And your enthusiasm's probably there.
To me, John's like the holy grail of the right contact. So
yeah, and so I would imagine when you speak to John, your enthusiasm and the point you're at when you speak to him comes across.
Yeah.
So
we've got one cooking at the minute.
Yeah.
And if he watches this, he'll probably know who he is.
Okay.
He keeps saying no. And he's got one of our, and I keep toying with him. I sent him a box with all Lobina logoed gear, and I put a handwritten note in it. I said, are you ready yet? Are you ready to experience the Lobina way? And I'm there. I'm almost playing a game of selling.
You're almost like a cat.
Yeah, and that's how I've always. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's worked for me.
Yes.
It's my buzz, yeah.
But actually, that's quite nice for the person receiving that. At first,
it's another sales call.
Yeah, it's a sales call. I'm not interested. Secondly, it's him again. But I think there would probably become a point where that starts to tip, and you can see someone warming to you.
And I really take it to heart when it's
okay.
It means a lot to me to get to just. But then I've always kind of broke through the no's.
Yeah.
But there's always been the odd one that just says no. No.
Yeah,
they're happy.
You're never going to have 100% success rate. You know.
But I never seen it. But it's weird. Even when they say no to me, it's not a no. It's just a maybe.
That's brilliant.
That's how it just. I don't know. Something clicks in my head like that.
That's how it's wired.
Yeah, that's just how it's wired in me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I see loads of stuff. Cold calling's dead. Cold calling's this. Cold calling's that. But cold calling's how we've grown our business.
Okay. Yeah.
Picking the phone up, asking for an opportunity, and saying, "Give us a chance."
Yeah. Yeah.
And just going with that technique rather than, "Oh, hi, it's Luigi, and we're from a logistics company." They don't care.
No, of course.
The client does not give a monkey's nut about what you can do for the client. When you're doing a sales call, one thing I figured out is they do not care who you are. They do not care where you're from. They don't care what you do.
Okay.
They've got to buy you as a human.
So not even what you do.
Not even what you do, in my opinion. My goal has always been to pick the phone up, and the quicker you make them laugh, the quicker you do something, the quicker you can get the client to think from your way of thinking and believe what you believe is where the gold is, in my opinion.
Okay.
And that's how we've landed many of our clients.
Yeah, yeah.
Many people might watch this who's one of our current clients today and think,
I'm sure they will.
I've been on the end of the phone to Luigi and he's a right pain in the arse.
But they'll be pleased with the work that you've done. They'll be glad that
they'll be glad that they've added us. So do you know what I mean?
They'll look back fondly at being hounded.
Yeah.
But say if it's your anniversary, you've just got that phone call at 6 o'clock, you're both on your way to a really nice meal, you've been planning it for a week or two.
Yeah.
You know, how do you do that? How does that sit with Rosa? How does it sit with you?
That's always been its challenge, because work comes first.
Yeah.
And the family's always been put second to great expense. But the rewards for myself and Rosa is I'm 53, 54. I finally learnt the art of delegation several years ago.
Yeah.
And thinking today I can make £10, but letting them do it, they can make 8.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Yeah. Being able to be a lot freer in the business, but actually provide more value in the business because you can say, let's do that. You've got some thinking time. So you're still busy, you're still doing stuff, you're still very active, but you
could say thanks to the team has allowed me to manage that.
Yeah. Just been chatting to your dad, and it was just insightful really about where the business is now, how it's got there. He's really pleased to have you in the business.
He started teaching me since I was born. If I was to describe what my dad was doing, his goal was to be free from normal life.
Okay.
You know, he wanted something more extraordinary than just a normal life. And you can still see that with him today. He's a cool man. I mean, he's a mentor to other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to have someone like that as your dad, you're already 20 steps ahead of the game, aren't you?
Yeah, you are.
I'm completely proud of that fact that everything that he's built, I'm allowed to build on top of.
Yes.
I mean, what a way to do it. if my kids coming in 15 years to something that I've built upon,
Yeah.
imagine if they come and put the next block on top.
Yeah. You complement each other.
We do complement each other. I mean, sometimes it clashes,
yeah.
which is just the real side of a family business. At the end of the day, we both want the same thing.
Yeah.
We both want to grow the business to the biggest it can get. We can look back over the last 5 to 10 years and be really proud of where we are, and we are really proud of where we are.
Yeah.
But the way I've always seen it is you're only as good as your next day. People can say, oh, I had a great month in January, or I had a great day last week. And yeah, but that's happened.
Yeah.
Today is today.
It's over. Yeah.
Today's today. And, we are proud of where we've come from, but where we're going is more exciting.